So, today an average American, right, is battling a lot of new things from digital currencies to saving for retirement to making sure they're living within their means. Inflation is also changing. There's other impacts that are happening. How's the average American today when it comes to financial readiness as compared to 20 years ago? Do you see this huge difference?
We are seeing it, some groups are more ready, and we're seeing new products being developed that are educating people. I had Secure 2.0, which was broad legislation that helped with that. We are seeing state plans popping up because thinking about what's going on, the changing nature of work. Many people, younger people, are going to have more than one job, which means they're not going to get a pension probably, and most people don't get a pension. And so we're pushing for people to have the opportunity to invest at the state level and gig workers to have access. So that's a challenge that we do see. Those who have multiple jobs are probably not offered a 401k plan. So states are coming in to help out with that. As far as individual engagement, we're seeing that up surprisingly. In our Gen Z panel, you'll see that Transamerica has done some research, and younger Americans are probably more engaged with finance, but they're doing it in a non-traditional way. They're often getting information from social media. We do have a concern, is it accurate? Are you getting accurate information from TikTok?
Yes.
So we really want to make sure that people understand the need to gain that accurate information, and that we want people to understand the risks of investing. Crypto, we have a fintech and AI cryptocurrency initiative, so we're focused on that, but we want to make sure people understand what they're investing in. I'm a former securities regulator. I worked in enforcement at the SEC, so I think in those terms. But so people are engaging more with those things, but we're not seeing a high enough level of engagement, and we are seeing that the average person in their 50s has invested and saved maybe $150,000 when they might need $1 million.
Yeah.
And so that begs the question of how do you help them,
Yeah, there are many, and you were talking about biases earlier. I came across, I think it's called the exponential bias, that you're unable to understand the future because of the exponential change within something, but you cannot visualize it. Is there a problem in us, in an everyday person, in being able to visualize what compound interest will look like, or what they can do today to have a specific goal tomorrow when it comes to finances?
When we wrote our paper, the aspect of it, and it had 220 footnotes, it was quite long.
Wow.
It got the most media attention. It's a comprehensive piece that highlights what things that impact financial security. Was the power of compounding. Like, we suggest that people begin saving at 25, but to your point about people not understanding, I think there's something to that. They're not thinking quite in those terms. And Dan Pink wrote the book, The Power of Regret. We cited that in our piece, just a small aspect of that. And the number one regret, or one of the top regrets that he calls a foundational regret, is not saving for the future. So we have to get people to, I refer to it, turning towards finance, not away. And we feel like we can be the most impactful when we reach out to those at the lower end of the income spectrum. Because if you're living paycheck to paycheck, as I mentioned, it's very hard to think about saving. But we want people to understand, if you save $100 a month for 40 years, you're going to have over $150,000, and people don't realize the impact of the power of compounding. So we want people to connect with their future self, and there are a number of platforms that financial services firms have that help you visualize your life. And so those visualization platforms that are often embedded in retirement plans also help, because people need to visualize the life they want to lead, and they also need to visualize themselves as older people to take care of that.
When you talk about the different issues that are impacting the younger generations versus the older generations, right? There's the 65 plus age group, there are millennials and the post-millennials, or Gen Z, if you will. They seem to have different problems, but I think they can both talk to each other and also understand each other's perspectives and plan better. What needs to be done in order for that to happen?
And that's a really interesting question, I would say. I mean, I think that having people have conversations about money, which is something that last year we had a panel of retirement CEOs, and Thasunda Brown Duckett talked about, we've had others talk about shame around surrounding money. If you don't have enough, you don't want to talk about it. So some of it is getting people to talk about money, especially women in a sense, some women, to talk about money and make that a part of your routine conversation with young children. Have parents talk about it, older adults talk about it. And so having those dialogues and making money and saving be an important part of learning about life rather than maybe a taboo subject or something we don't all know about, I think is a really key point.
Excellent. What are you working on personally on initiatives that are really exciting you and you're really looking forward to them to fruition?
We are focused on Gen Z and millennials right now because it's that peak 2025 we're calling, or peak 65 really. There's a lot of attention on boomers turning 65, but we want to also turn back and not forget Gen Z and millennials because they are struggling in the current environment. Right. And as an older person, they're stepping up to lead, and I'm very proud of what I see. They're ready, they're smart, they're the most educated, they're engaged, but some of them are not really feeling strong enough in their finances. They're concerned about Social Security. They're concerned about being able to buy a home, so we want to reach out to them. The other thing we're going to be doing is some more global work, focusing on global financial security and countries and underdeveloped markets where they're starting to get access to fintech, but maybe they aren't saving. So we're going to be doing that. And then we're also leading a women's financial security initiative, which is how we connected with Gloria Steinem. And lastly, I'll say we've been writing about and thinking about lifetime income. You'll hear that a lot when you talk to finance professionals, because most large firms have a lifetime income product, which is essentially an annuity embedded in your 401k that gives you income for life. And we really feel that people need income for life. It'll make a huge difference for most Americans.
Excellent. So if you had a magic wand, what would you make happen that changes something over the next 5 years? And what would those outcomes be? What is your dream that if it comes true?
I think, I have to think for a moment, but it would be that everyone has lifetime income because most people don't have pensions, right? Only about 15% now of people who are not in the public sector have a pension. And it used to be there's three-legged stool: pensions, savings, and Social Security. So I want everyone to have some kind of lifetime income because when you project that out over 30 years, that's significant, even if it's $25,000 a year. I'd also want to see all the people around the world being able to save and have access to a vehicle where some of that is matched. And then I want to make sure that we don't forget about older Americans who are trying to live on Social Security. That is not okay. And we want to make sure that they have services and access to financial benefits that they really need. And I think that if we can do that and then get the young generations to engage, we'll be in much better position.
Super. Cheryl, thank you so much for joining us here with the Futurist at Milken, and we appreciate your time, and all the best for working on these amazing initiatives. I think there's a lot to be done, and I'm super excited about the future. Thank you.
Yes, we are too. Thanks so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.